Here at SIM, we all use a standardized commit message format specifying maybe a defect number or a user story or task number to which our commit is associated, and then some other useful bits of information. But it's a bit of a pain to have to manually re-enter that SIM-style commit message format with each commit. So I've got a trick for you. This is actually a trick passed along to me by Jeff Avalone, one of our senior front-end developers here at SIM. And this trick is, to save you from having to manually enter a SIM-style commit message format with each commit. So rather than an editor, we reference a shell script as our editor in the config file. This shell script contains a command instructing VI to open another file, SVN editor.script, and the SVN editor.script file is open in VI. It contains the SIM commit message format and sends the cursor back to the top of the file in insert mode. Obviously, this is a huge time saver. It could theoretically be used with any editor and any commit message format. So dealing with revision conflict is generally the most confusing aspect of Subversion. So here's a basic example. In this example, updating your working copy reveals a revision conflict designated by the C to the left of a file name. So to fix the conflict, we want to go into the file, fix the conflict, mark the file or the file in conflict as having been resolved with SVN resolved and specifying the path to the file, and then committing this file. However, the most common conflict scenario usually presents itself when merging, or in our case, propagating. So in this scenario, the propagate script reports the commit as failed and claims a file is in conflict. So how to resolve a propagation conflict? Again, in the case of this example, the conflict exists in trunk, so we cd into trunk, we open the file in conflict, make the necessary edits to resolve the conflict, mark the file as resolved with SVN resolved, go back to the original branch from which we were propagating, and rerun the propagate script, again specifying the change set number. So beyond committing, there's a few operations you'll probably find yourself performing often. These are things you can't do in your file browser because obviously Subversion needs to track these revisions in the .svn administrative directories. So committing a specific file in a set of edited files can be done by specifying the file name, svn commit, and specifying the path to and the file's name. Adding a file can be done with svn add. Deleting a file can be accomplished with svn delete. Moving a file can be accomplished with svn move, specifying the full path to the file name and then the future path to the file name. Copying can be done with svn copy, specifying the path to the file name and then the path to the future file name. And then you can also discard changes to your working copy with svn revert and specifying the file name which you'd like to revert. So once you get the hang of it, SVN is also a pretty simple way to perform some more advanced Subversion operations. One frequently encountered task is to merge a specified range of change sets between branches with SVN merge. So in the first example here, we merge change sets 200 to 210 from one branch to another branch. We do this with SVN merge-R, specifying the range of change sets separated by a colon, the first branch, and the target branch. We can do a dry run of this to see what the results would be with SVN merge -- dry run, -R specifying the range of change sets, the first branch and the target branch. --dry run is a really helpful way to see what the consequence of a certain SVN operation would be without actually creating any real changes to your working copy. So if you have any reservations about what you're doing, you can always run something with dry run to experiment to see what will happen. You can also roll back a working copy to a specified change set with SVN up-R and specifying a revision number. You can undo the above and update the working copy to head with SVN up-R head. Head being the front line of the repository, the most up-to-date version of the code base. You can cut a branch from trunk with SVN copy trunk and then specifying the location and name of your new branch and committing this. I'll note that here at SIM we really try to discourage individual developers from cutting new branches. We generally have Carmen Sarlo handle that for us, as he's the person who is generally tasked with maintaining our repository. Arguably, if all of us were creating new branches all the time, the repository would get a little crazy and difficult to maintain, and not everyone would be aware of what's going on in all these branches, and so we generally funnel that all through Carmen so that he can manage that for us. I also think it's worth mentioning a few helpful tricks. These are things I find myself using pretty often. So instead of visiting track to see the revision log, you can view recent log entries directly in your terminal with SVN log. SVN log will pull up the entire log in your terminal. Most likely you don't want to do this. You're probably most interested in recent log entries. So to see some recent log entries, you can run SVN log and pipe it through less. You can also see who edited what lines of a file last with SVN blame and specifying the path to the file name. This is pretty helpful when trying to figure out who's done what. You can back out a change set with a negative merge. SVN merge-C-revision number. You can undo the above and restore the change set with SVN revert and specifying the path to the file affected. You can find out when the branch was created with SVN log --stop on copy. A few more tricks. SVN diff reveals a quick in-terminal differ. This is really helpful to get a quick view of the specific revisions or differences between your working copy and those committed to the repository. You can also view the contents of a file at a specific revision with SVN cat --revision equals specifying the change set number and the path to the file name. This is pretty helpful when debugging and trying to figure out on the fly how a certain file has evolved over time. I'll also mention one more important tip: SVN help. SVN provides much more than is covered within the scope of this presentation within its built-in documentation that you can access with SVN help. This is a pretty useful tip and world of knowledge. But if you don't feel like trying SVN help, here's a few more resources. The entire SVN book is available online for free. Dave Child has posted a pretty great SVN cheat sheet on his website that I have often found myself using. And if you have access to our wiki here at SIM, Amit wrote a really helpful article on the wiki outlining a bit of what I've covered in this presentation. So with that, thank you.